Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com. This is in our React project. What I'm going to do is we're going to create another component for the form, just because this component's getting a little messy. So what I'm going to do is going to go into my components folder, because we're going to learn how to make a form. And I'm going to create a new component, new file. It's going to be called form.js. And you guys know the drill. Import React from React. Okay, and we're going to const form equals props. Okay, I'm going to show you the really long way to do a form, and then I'll show you the really sort of shorter way to do a form. Okay, because I find the useRef approach to using a form a lot easier. I'm not sure if it's performance-wise better, but the standard way for you to do a form is creating a whole bunch of onChange or an onChange function. So let me just show you how this works. So first, let's create a piece of data for our form. So const form data, and then here we'll have set form data as our function to set it, and we're going to just say equals, and okay, and it's going to equal a empty object for now. So again, that's going to be react.useState, and we're going to just basically have that equal an empty object for now. Then we need to create our form, so we're going to return some JSX. So JSX will just be a form tag, and then here we'll have a couple different tags: input type equals text, name equals hello. Okay. And then here's where things start getting fun. What you need to do is, what I want is that every time that you type into this form, we update the state, so that way the data in the form matches the data in the state. Okay? And let's see here. So what I want to do is I want to create a onChange function. So form change. Okay. And we'll pass in the name of the form piece. And what I want this, well, let's create this form right. Equals, and then I need to put a const there because it's a function. Const form change equals name. And what I want is that whenever that form changes, it's going to set form data. Okay, we're gonna create a new object, but we're gonna include all the properties that already exist in form data, because we don't want to miss out on any of that, because it won't replace it if you don't accidentally add it in there. And then we're gonna have a property that is name, so whatever the name of the property is, which is going to equal and we need to pass in the target as well. Okay, we're going to pass in the target. Actually, no, it's the event. Blah. The event item. And we want the event.target.value to be the value of that field. And just so you can see as it changes, I'm going to console.log. Okay, so now I need to actually add that function. So we need to create a onChange function here. And what this function will do, we'll pass in an arrow function. The arrow function will take in the target, because it's what event objects do. Okay, and then I will pass in, we will use set form data, and I'm going to pass in the word, basically this form field is called hello, so I want to make sure that matches. Hello, and then we'll pass in the target. Okay, there's different ways to do this, but I'm just kind of just freewheeling it. So that creates this particular input slash, and the reason why you have to do that is because technically what's going to happen is that we're also going to say that the value of the form matches that piece of state. So value equals, okay, value equals form data dot hello. So that means I have to make sure that the hello property exists from the get-go. So we'll add hello and make it an empty string to begin with. So if I were just to say that, okay, so it has to go two ways. So basically the form is always going to equal what the state is, but the state has to change as we update the form. And if you don't do one or the other, then the form locks up and you just can't use the form, and it's kind of silly. Because what happens is that it'll basically, if we just say, let's go back to the form, if we just say that the value of the form is form data.hello, it'll just be an empty string and I can't change it. But since I change the state, then it allows me to change the form. It's just a weird thing in React. So that is a form. Doesn't really matter if we submit it yet. So now you should be able to type into it. So let's actually, let me make sure I export. So again, I'll just do this as an export default. Keep forgetting that's just sort of the easier way to do this. Export default. Save. There we go. Save. And then I'm going to head over to my app.css. I'm going to import the form. Well, not app.js. I'm going to go import the form. Import form from /components /button. No. Form.js. Save, and let's just plop that form in here somewhere. I'll put the form under the buttons. There we go. Save. And now that form should appear right under these two buttons. Oh, instead I got a bunch of errors. So let's take a look. Ref can is not defined on line 5. Interesting. Line 5. Oh, yep, there's a random variable just kind of hanging out there. Okay, so let's get rid of that. Save. Let's see if that fixes things up. Yep, there we go. So here's the form field. Now watch what happens as I type into it. Type in G. A component is changing a controlled input text. A component is changing a controlled input type text to be uncontrolled. Input element should not switch from controlled to uncontrolled. Okay. What should be console logging so that something. Let's go back and take a look. Okay, so form data dot hello is a string, and then we set form data, and then let's just make sure that this function is actually working. Console.log name target. Save. For that to update. Default. See here on change. Let's target. Probably just wants me to put this in directly, which I guess I could. set form no, that's what I did wrong. It's supposed to be form change. Okay. So let's do that again. Control Z, 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 Z. Yeah, see, I used set form data. I didn't use form change. That was the problem. Form change. Cool. So now let's, well, I'll wait for the Ajax call to finish. A target is not defined. Which line did it say that target's not defined? Form.js7. Oh wait, I know why. Because this is actually event. Blah. There we go. Save. If I type in the form, and there you go. So we get hello, synthetic event. So that shows that we are receiving what we need to receive. That's good. Now really what I want to see is if we get event.target.value. So we change that console log to that. Yep. So you can see it's changing every time. And then if I go to the state, so if I go back to my components here, and I look up, I don't know why it's labeling them all default, but here we go. That's there. This is the one with the form. See, there's a state hello, which has all the, and then basically now, if I were to do like an event that were to do like an Ajax call and send data to an API, I could just grab it from my state. I don't have to go grab it from the form because the data is already in my state. So that after that, it gets a lot easier. So that's one way to do it. You would just do that for each. You can just use the same function, this form change function, for each form, because you're passing in the name of the property. Okay. Actually, ideally, you wouldn't even need to do that. You could just do this. You just pass in the event. Now that I'm thinking a little clearer, you don't need this name parameter. So I can console like that. Because technically the name would be stored here. So this would just be event.target.name. And then that will work pretty uniformly. Save. Okay. And you would just do that. Okay. Save. Okay, and then let's see here. That should run. And again, we'll see here. Then I go to the component. See, it reflects what's in there, and I can see a change right over here. Nice. Now the other way I could have done this. Okay, so let's get rid of all this value and whatnot. Well, instead of creating a piece of data like this through creating this, I'll just comment this out. Instead of creating that, what I could do is I could use what's called useRef. This is a special kind of variable. It does the same thing. What it does, it creates a reference to the input. So if I don't need to update the state constantly, I just need to grab the value when I need it, I can just say, you know, form, or, you know, input value, const input value, or const input, and I would just generally name it after each form. So if that form input is called hello, we'll call this hello. So const hello equals useRef, and then you just pass in, I think it's It's just empty. So useRef, what's it complaining about? Can't find name. Oh, it's react.useRef, that's right. I mean, I could destructure it, but react.useRef. So now that I have this variable here, then I can just add here ref equals hello. And what it does is that now this variable hello refers to this input. So now if I want to go get the value of hello, I can just console log it. Console.log hello. Dot, I think it's like hello dot current dot value. I think is the what I'm looking for. Because it's the current thing and then the value of the current element. Although I don't think it works. Let's see if it re-renders every time it changes. It's not happy with me. Cannot read property value of undefined. Okay, so we haven't changed it yet. So here's what I'm going to do. I have to do this as a ternary. So if hello.current exists, then let's print out hello.current.value. And if not, not yet. Okay, not yet. Now let me update the form. Okay, so see that works, but the problem is you're not seeing it update. The reason is it's not updating the state, so it's not re-rendering. But what happens is that hello variable, whenever it's accessed, it's going to access the current value of the form data. So if I were to add a button, okay, so let's add a submit button. Input type equals submit. Okay, and then we have to add an onSubmit function. Okay, so I'm going to create another function. Const submit handler, or handle submit equals nothing. No parameters get passed in. And what happens here is just going to console.log hello.current.value. Actually, we'll just console log hello, so you can just see what the hello object is. Save. Well, actually, and then here in the form, we can do an onSubmit function, and the onSubmit function, it just basically runs that handle submit. Okay. Okay. So now if I change the value, then I hit submit. Oh, that's right. The form automatically refreshes the page. Woo! So I need to prevent default. Okay, so I do need to pass in E. I need to pass in E over here, the event, and do E dot prevent default. E is short for the event object. Prevent default. So that way it doesn't automatically update. This is why I hate using forms, and I prefer just using freestanding buttons. E is not defined. Let me think about that for a second. E. Fine. Name E. Oh, I know why. I gotta pass in a function definition, so we're gonna pass in another arrow function that takes in the event and then passes the event into this function. Cool. Okay, there we go. So let's type in some text. Cheese. I hit submit. and the function runs. So there's our useRef. That's the current input, and then there should be a value in there. The value, and the value is cheese. Okay, what I typed into the bar. So you could access it that way too. I kind of find that a little bit easier in a lot of situations because I don't really use the form values until I have my onSubmit function. So basically I'll just go in there and then just grab the values using the useRef. But you are creating these very large objects with all this data that are holding on to all this data for each useRef. So it can be an overkill way of doing it. Either way works. So either way you can grab data from the forms and do what you want with them. Send them in AJAX calls, use them to do other fun stuff, whatever. Okay, but that's kind of like how form handling in React works. Okay, it's similar on the class component side. Only difference is that all your stuff has like this in front of it, and then you also have the bind functions, which is fun. But you don't have to worry about binding with the function components, which is another win of using function components. So I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day and enjoy.